Order. The business meeting and truth and taxation hearing for the Faribault Public Schools School Board here on December 1st, 2025. Here at the district office, as I said, we welcome those of you in attendance and those of you watching online. Director Steves, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there is.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2 is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda with flexibility, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Director Steves. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Knudsen. Any discussion? Discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So with flexibility, again, as you see in the agenda item number 3 is the Truth and Taxation meeting. That will start at 6 o'clock. So we will move to agenda item number 4, our recognition, awards, and presentations. Tonight we have the Youth Participatory Action Research, the YPAR project. Our presenters are our Youth Engagement Coordinator and Peer Group Connection Advisor, Ashlyn Zerbriggen, along with ECLE, Whitney Huberty, Brianna Velasquez, and Amelia Williams. So if you'd like to come forward and up there, and we'll share the mic as you go along, as Mr. Burton just said. So.
Thank you. How are you tonight?
You want another chair?
Thank you.
You may sit,
It's
stand,
very nice.
whatever you're most comfortable with.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for allowing these students to be here tonight. Before they introduce themselves, I will introduce myself. I'm Ashlyn Zerbergen. I'm the Youth Engagement Coordinator for the school district. I primarily work at the high school. I also teach PGC with Amelia Knudsen. But these 4 amazing students here, they were allowed this opportunity through Carleton College this summer. So they started this project this summer and they finished this fall. And so they will introduce themselves and tell you a little bit more about YPAR. Thank you.
As many of you may know, I am Isa Ali. I am in 12th grade. What is YPAR? YPAR stands for Youth Participatory Action Research, short for PAR. YPAR is an innovative approach to positive youth and community development in which young people are trained to conduct systematic research to improve their lives. In which young people are trained to conduct systematic research to improve their lives, their community, and their institutions to serve them.
Hello, my name is Brianna Velasquez Sanchez, and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Whitney Huberty, and I'm a junior.
Hi, my name is Amira Williams, and I'm a junior.
And so just like Issa introduced what YPAR is, we had the chance to execute research ourselves. So we got together and chose a topic that really interests us, and especially something that we felt like that we lacked that, especially within our school. And we decided to choose the topic of peer mentorship. And truly what peer mentorship is building that connection with a peer who has more experience or less experience, and who is willing to drive you through that experience that they have gone through before. And we chose this topic because as a student body, we realized that we truly do struggle with the connections between our 9th graders and our upperclassmen. And throughout our research, we also realized that the class Peer Group Connection, PGC, has proven to be a core class in our school to help make those connections between our 9th graders and our upperclassmen. And really, truly, PGC allows for ninth graders to feel like they can rely and count on someone. So throughout this research, we really realized the importance of, again, peer mentorship, and the importance of making those connections and relationships with our upper and underclassmen, connecting them together.
All right, so research from Harvard University shows that school mentorship improves academic outcomes such as grades and attendance, and it also helps improve social skills, so coming more out of their shell, and it also helps having like a older mentor to help guide you for the future.
Like Bree said, we have PGC and then also Big Brothers Big Sisters. And that's when a high school student is matched up with an elementary student, and the older student guides them through childhood.
All right. So earlier this spring last year, we had last school year we had conducted a survey as PGC leaders, and we had found that 71.4% of students learn from outreaches. They have gained lessons, and they have gained lessons from us. They also have shown more growth with being able to connect with their peers themselves because they are with the group. And they have developed a pretty good relationship with the upperclassmen that was assigned to their group.
And then just kind of more of an explanation of what PGC. So Peer Group Connection, also known as PGC, is developed by Center for Supportive Schools, and it's an evidence-based school program that trains older students to mentor younger students, and primarily focusing on facilitating the transition to high school for ninth graders. And really who leads this program at our school is Mrs. Z and Ms. Knudsen, and this is through a 2-year grant from Center for Supportive Schools, as long as help and support from Mrs. Borka.
So here's our own personal experiences with PGC. So some of our reasonings were joining PGC is great because you can be a mentor, and they really wish that they had a mentor their ninth grade year to help them through high school and make some more friends, and also connect with more teachers and kind of come out of their bubble and shell.
Oh yeah, and here's some photos of PGC at the high school. But we want to leave you with the question of who was a mentor in your life during your high school years that left a lasting impact? And if you can't think of anyone, do you believe that peer mentorship is valuable? Whether it is someone who helped you in the past or currently right now, mentors encourage you to become a better version of yourself, to provide feedback and watch you grow. We believe that PGC is crucial at FHS, and we would love your support for peer mentorship to continue to so we can build positive relationships.
We would like to thank all of you for your time, and if you guys have any questions, we would love to answer any.
Thank you so much. Board members, questions or comments here? Director Robichaud.
Sure, I'll answer your first question. It was so long ago that I was in high school, I don't remember if I had a mentor or not, so. But yes, in response to your question, I think it's critically important to have a peer and somebody whom you can relate with and they can relate with as they navigate through their school experience. And one other comment, you're to be respected and commended for not reading the PowerPoint to us, but actually presenting to us. I've seen too many people saying, here, da, 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 da. You really spoke with us, and that appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Knudsen.
So I've seen UPGC students in the work that you're doing, and I know that it's a big time commitment, and I think you're just doing great, working together and making presentations. And last year I saw a PGC group, and it was surprising to me how receptive the ninth graders were to the older students. So I think you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Director Moore.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you for handing out hard copies, because sometimes when you look at a screen, and I broke my computer, but my screen is, it's hard on the eyes, so I really appreciate that, and it's in bigger print. Yes, and as far as mentoring, I went from a country school with about 15 students to ninth grade. And I think that was the worst year of my life, and I really could have used a peer mentor back then. So I think this is a really great program. And I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank you for your research on that. You presented quite well, and thank you.
Director Wolf.
Yeah, just a big thank you to students and the two leaders that are leading the PGC group. Just a question, the four of you, do you have any kind of ahas from this? This is year one, is that correct? Or year two?
I am a 2-year.
Are all of you
I
year
am
two?
a 2-year.
1 year? So do you have any ahas from last year or this year that were just kind of eye-opening for you as you've been part of this?
For me, it would probably be in the sense of teaching. It would be how different students are receptive in their own ways, and just trying to navigate that and how it can be different from day to day. So just taking that into account when I come in, and just trying to be positive, because we usually have our outreaches in the morning, and it's not always the happiest time, and there's not necessarily a happy image of going to school. So just trying to create that caring community for them to come to every 2 weeks this year, I think is really helpful for them.
For me, since it is my first year, I've truly enjoyed the program so far, but my aha moment was probably when going through the different outreaches and just seeing how differently the ninth graders can react. So sometimes they have good days, sometimes they have bad days, kind of going back to what Issa said. But it's really truly learning how to adapt to that and learning how to lead in those different situations, especially with your ninth graders that are at different points in their lives with different experiences and different backgrounds.
So I have a multi-question here. So not having this when you came to the high school as freshmen. So some of the questions and concerns you had as students, now as you're a mentor, a leader, are they the same? Have they changed? How did you handle it compared to how you're guiding other students to handle this now?
So I could start. So I could say that the building that I came into and the building that I am in today is really and truly different, and that is ultimately thanks to you guys. We have had a great year so far, so some of those concerns are not the same, but I still do believe that the ninth graders are still dealing with some of those maybe social or some of those relationships that they're trying to navigate, and how to set them on the right path, and I believe is still the same, because in the end of the day, the maturity level I don't think really has changed between the ninth graders today and us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, we had the ninth graders take some surveys. And so one of the questions on the surveys was, what do you enjoy most about participating in PGC? And it was talking and understanding other people in the group. I'm learning about more people and what they've been through and done. Being able to connect with more people and other people I normally wouldn't talk to. Feeling more comfortable for everybody.
But answering your question, I think for me, not having PGC, most of my questions went to captains of teams and stuff in sports. But I mean, some kids aren't into sports or, do other activities, and having a leader set up already in the school and in the learning, environment, I think is very helpful. And those questions can be answered rather than going, through a bunch of different people. So yeah.
And then as for me, as a ninth grader, I felt like I really couldn't reach out to anyone. Like I had my older sister, but like we have our different experiences, so it's not the same. But now, like being a mentor and like being a leader within this program within PGC, it really is all about like paying it back. So kind of going like through what I like experienced, I want to give back to the ninth graders what I didn't get to experience. And just being again in PGC has really allowed me to do that, and I really appreciate it for that.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to thank you, all of you, for doing that, for helping others to get more connected and help them go through challenges they may have. I think it's so important. And when I was in high school, no, I did not have a mentor, but I wish I did. And I thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Let's give them a round of applause, shall we? Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're welcome. Next, we'll move on to agenda number 5, items of information. I'm assuming there's not a school board representative. Isai, you're going to, okay, do you want to jump in and do this quick? We're not going to give you any rest.
Good to go.
Sidney, go ahead.
All right. I would just like to say good afternoon as the school board representative. What I would like to report on today is the success of our Falcon Flight Path speaker events during Falcon Support Time on Wednesday mornings. We have hosted a variety of speakers from different careers, including piloting, entrepreneurship, finance, and law enforcement. Even though these sessions are optional, we have had strong turnouts. We have seen many of my fellow students go to these, like looking to see what they can do in the future. In addition, this week we will be having a career day on Friday, where many speakers from a wide range of professions will be presenting to all grade levels. Our ninth graders will also be having their career navigator field trip to South Central this Friday as well. And lastly, I would like to invite all of you guys to come to our charity donkey basketball game, I believe maybe on Wednesday, don't quote me on that, where we'll be having students face each other in teams and also against the staff to raise money for Toys for Tots, and it will be proudly organized by our student council. Thank you.
Great. So we'll get the date of that donkey basketball and make sure it's put out to board members, et cetera. So thank you, Isai.
Thank you.
Okay, keeping in mind the times, we will start Truth and Taxation at 6. We'll move to items of information, school board members. Anyone have anything here? Director Moore.
I have a few things, and I'll try to be fast here. First of all, I do want to thank you, Chair Bellingham, and for the opportunity to speak at the beginning of the meeting versus at the end. Thank you for that. Also, I'd like to thank the Faribault Daily News for covering our many concerns. I do appreciate that. I feel there needs to be a clarification, however, that on the Faribault Daily News reported I voted no on the audit due to not having enough time to read it. That is true, but it's only half the story, and so I think some context is needed. Last Monday at about 11 a.m., we received 140-plus pages of documents related to the revised budget, communications letter, audit, et cetera, that we were to vote on later that same day. Granted, the audit was about 15 pages with text, graphs, and pie charts. However, the audit should be perused in conjunction with other budgetary documents that were downloaded that day. So yes, this was a revised budget, but it still needs to be gone over in detail, and that takes time. The bottom line is I will not rubber stamp something that I have not thoroughly reviewed. Also, in the future, I want to see a detailed account of the programs implemented since COVID, along with positions hired and salaries, benefits. And with our achievement numbers these past few years, I think we need to show accountability as to the dollars spent, and most importantly, are these increasing our achievement scores? I have a few other comments, and I'll try to be quick about it. I have some concerns about the current whole school, whole community, whole child WISC approach that's implemented by Faribault Public Schools, as well as our alliance or partnership with Health Finders. Health Finders does have a clinic at Faribault High School. And I asked some questions via email a while back of Superintendent Benty regarding Health Finders. Question 1, are students under 16 ever seen without parental knowledge consent? And the answer in part was yes, regarding pregnancy-related care, which is prenatal and postpartum, and pregnancy prevention. Question 2, I said clinics are denying parents access to records as young as 12. Is that happening, and are we compliant? Superintendent Benny did not directly answer if we are compliant, but did say some clinics use adolescent confidentiality practices around age 12, which is consistent with clinical guidelines. The above rule is what Health Finders follow. And I think, too, I believe the Faribault Daily News reported that that Mr. Superintendent Benty denied this allegation. But from this email, that is incorrect, and I hope that they correct that statement. To recap, Health Finders can withhold parental knowledge by age 12. So if a 12, 13, 14-year-old gets pregnant, the parents aren't notified. Is that correct? I'm not sure. That is disconcerting. Secondly, I'm having a major problem with the WISC program, especially as it relates to the referral system for sexual health services. One of WISC priorities is to increase referrals of students to school-based and community-based school health providers, and to increase the number of sexually active adolescents receiving sexual health services. Remember now, a student who is pregnant doesn't need parental knowledge or consent. I guess my questions are, regarding the Health Finders Clinic at Faribault Public Schools and WISC, do these services, noting lack of parental consent, involve contraception, abortion, or any kind of gender care? I think it's important for these questions to be answered by our superintendent or administration. Also, have the schools been transparent with parents and taxpayers about all of this? I think we need to be. And by the way, I was told that Health Finders, I assume via telehealth, will be expanding to all Faribault Public School buildings. And finally, the fact that we're talking children as young as 16 years and even as young as 12 can get health services without parental consents is just ludicrous to me. We're talking 12-year-olds here. We've got to let that sink in. 12-year-olds. If federal or state laws won't protect a 12-year-old child, we have an ethical and moral obligation to do so. You know, we can hide behind the federal and state laws, but we can't hide behind God's laws, what you do to the least. I would like some answers to this because it seems a little confusing, and I'd like them soon. I thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to speak, and I thank the Faribault Daily News for their coverage. Thank you.
Any other items of information, board members?
Just to
Director
reiterate,
Steves.
Lisa's commentary on Friday's event. So there is 19 or 20 business professionals that will be presenting to our students. So they'll be talking about their career paths, how they got to where they are, from a variety of local businesses. So we're really excited about that.
Director Wolf.
Mr. Chair, I've been fortunate enough to be able to to attend a couple of the recent girls' home basketball games. And for those of you in the audience and those of you online, school board members, I would encourage you to go attend high school events. Winter season is kicked off and in full swing, and I know the girls have a home basketball game tomorrow night. I know the boys have their first home game on Thursday night. I can't speak to the other sports. Amira had to leave tonight, but I was in attendance last week when she scored her 1,000th point. You were there as well, so it was a great thing. They got a win, a 2-point win. She scored her 1,000th point with about a minute and a half to go or whatever, but congratulations to her. And, just encourage people to go watch these young students out there playing their hearts out.
Thank you. So in looking at the clock, Mr. Benty, I know you're next. I think I'm going to switch to get ready for the Truth and Taxation meeting, so we'll put that on hold here. Just a couple of items of information before I call that meeting to order. The Truth and Taxation hearing is for the 2025 payable 2026 property tax levy and budget. This hearing is required under Minnesota statute 275.065, which ensures that the public has an opportunity to learn about and respond to the district's proposed tax levy and budget for the upcoming year. Before we begin, I wanted to remind everyone that anyone wishing to speak during the hearing should have signed up before the meeting started. This allows us to conduct an orderly hearing, ensure everyone has requested and has a fair and reasonable opportunity to be heard. However, due to us starting a half hour after our board meeting, if there's anyone present who intended to speak but yet has not signed up, would you please do so now with the board secretary, Jamie Kenny. So if anyone wishes to do that, just wanted to throw out that opportunity there as well. So during tonight's hearing, the district will present information about how the proposed levy how it is calculated, what has changed, and how it supports our educational programs and operations. After the presentation, we will invite speakers in the order listed on the sign-up sheet. In accordance with school board policies 206 and 207, speakers will be recognized one at a time. Comments must relate to the proposed property tax levy and budget. Personal attacks, private personnel or student matters, or disruptive conduct will not be permitted. The school board values community input, and all comments will be taken into consideration as we move forward with final certification of the levy. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your engagement in Faribault Public Schools. And now we're going to wait, because officially it has to be 6 o'clock, so I read too fast, so we will wait a minute and a half or so for that. And, thank you, Isai. Thanks very much. Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so I call to order the Faribault Public Schools Truth and Taxation Hearing for the 2025 payable and 2026 property tax levy and budget. We will now thank you for being here and your engagement in Faribault Public Schools. We will now begin the presentation. Ms. Raisler.
Thank you, Chair Benty, board members, and Superintendent Benty. I think I just said Chair Benty, Chair Bellingham.
Thank you.
Yes, tonight we will be going over the public hearing for the taxes payable in 2026. So to start off our presentation, there is some truth and taxation law items. We have to have a public meeting. We must announce date, time. We are having the meeting between November 25 and December 30 at 6 o'clock, and mailing of the notices as shown on the screen. The public hearing requirement states that we have to talk about the 2025-26 budget, this proposed property tax levy, and then we also have to allow for comments from the public. So this next slide just talks about points to remember. Public schools are funded by the federal government, state government, local fees, and local taxpayers through property taxes, with the state of Minnesota being the largest of those funding sources. State legislature determines the revenue formula except for voter approved referenda, local levy, and state aid. And then it is important to remember that an increase in local taxes does not necessarily mean an increase in revenue for a school district. This next slide, I think, really points out how involved the school district is with property taxes. The only item that the school board really has anything to do with is highlighted in yellow there, step number 6. So we have the city and county assessor in step 1 that gives the values of the property. The legislator sets the formulas for the tax capacity. The county auditor then calculates what that capacity is. The legislature sets the district levy limits, and then MDE calculates the detailed levy for each district. The only step the school board really gets to do is to adopt the proposed levy in September, and we did that when we said we wanted the maximum, and then we adopt the final dollar value for that levy in December, and that's what we'll be doing here tonight. From there, then the county auditor divides the final levy. So what we're talking about tonight is our current levy is 2025 payable 26. So that means it's certified in calendar year 2025. The taxes are collected in 2026, and we recognize the revenue in fiscal year 27. Again, authority for school levies is set by the state and anything that is board approved. This next slide is one that is quite popular with school districts because it shows how far behind the state is with their formula allowance per pupil unit. So right now, the funding trails inflation by almost $1,470 per pupil unit, or 19.7%. So right now, the per pupil unit is $7,481, and had they kept pace with inflation, it would be well over $8,000. Next, then, we'll talk a little bit about our budget, as that is part of what is required during this meeting. What you are seeing here, then, is actually also what was discussed last week when we talk about our FY25 actual, where we ended fiscal year 25 with our actuals that was communicated during the audit presentation. The next column then just simply shows where we are at with our FY26 adopted budget. That is the budget that I used, was the original adopted budget when presenting this data. What you are seeing then is just a general summary of each fund that we have in budget. So our general food service, community ed, etc. So the total of all funds for revenues in FY25 was almost $80 million at $79,924,073. For FY '26, we projected 80,308,228, or an increase of 0.48% in revenue. And here then is a pie chart that kind of describes where we are getting our dollars from. So as you can see, 78% of our dollars come from the state, 15% from local property tax, 4% from the federal, and then our local sources or fees, those different kinds of things, comes in at 3%. And this is very similar to what we saw in prior years. The next slide then just simply goes through our expenditure summary, same layout, where we're seeing what we actually had in FY '25 versus what we had for a proposed budget in FY '26 with our adopted budget. And you can see then, looking at all of the funds, that our expenditures are set to increase about 1.51% over our expenditures from the prior year. Again, then looking at the pie chart, what we are seeing here is that our greatest asset, if you will, our staff, is the lion's share of where we are spending our dollars on salaries and benefits, and that comes in at 78%. Purchase services are things like our busing, architect work, attorneys, those types of services that we contract for. The main budgets of the 25 payable 26 is the general fund, community service fund, and our debt service fund. So each school each district can levy in 40 different categories for each year. Levy limits are set then by state law and voter approval. The next slide, hopefully, there, that looks a little better. The next slide then is comparing where we were in actual FY '25, FY '26 payable 25, and where we are in FY '27, which is payable 26. So we are seeing decreases in the general funds in pretty much all of the categories. We do see a decrease in our voter approved referendum, as well as our local and local optional, our equity revenue, transition, etc. So all of those are showing a slight decrease. If you continue down, you will see then that we also have some adjustments, reemployment, those different pieces. You're seeing a slight increase to our annual OPEB amount, and that is that was planned for to have more funding opportunity with that OPEB. Overall, we are decreasing our proposed levy from FY '26 to FY '27 by 4.28% in the general fund. We will go ahead now and take a look at our other funds that are on the levy, and this is our community service fund as well as our debt service fund. Again, we are seeing some decreases in our basic community education as well as our early childhood, but then we do see an increase for our child age care as well as adjustments then. And I should let you know that adjustments are usually changes in student counts, up or down, and so it's going to hit different funds in different ways. Fund 1 is mostly driven just on student counts, where Fund 4 has more aid available at this point in time. The legislature did up the amount of aid that they're providing for different community service type of activity. So you are seeing an increase of 6.47% for our community service, and then we go into our debt service. We have our voter approved referendum. Other debt service is basically where we are. We don't have voter approved referendum, excuse me. So our other debt service, you can see a slight increase as well as an increase in our long fixed-term facilities, and that's again the projects that the board had approved to work on those HVAC projects. The reduction for excess fund balance, and again, remember that we are required by law to collect 105% of any debt, and that is to cover for anyone that is unable to pay their property taxes. This evens out throughout the years if we want to just make sure that we don't have a big swing one way or another, so that's just an area that I kind of pay attention to ensure that there isn't a large swing there. And again, then we have some adjustments. And the total then for debt service was an increase of $120,225 or 5.88%. So then when we take a look at the total amount for all the funds, we have a decrease of $273,660 or 2.22 decrease in our property taxes. The next slide is just a summary of that comparison data, and so it just simply lays out our general fund, community ed, and debt service, showing pay 25 versus pay 26, what that difference is, and then the change that is shown in percentage form of negative 2.22. So the next steps basically is for the school board will vote on the proposed levy for pay 26 to be recognized in fiscal year 27, and that will come later on in the meeting. We do list some key talking points here just for our public to remember that property valuation increases do not necessarily mean we're getting more revenue. And in fact, increasing valuations can lead to less aid and more levy because it looks like we're property rich. And so then the state has their formulas where they calculate that information. And then the third bullet, as different portions of the property tax pie changes, the property tax burden shifts from taxpayers with smaller increases to taxpayers with larger increases. The next is just the recommendation that you'll see later on in the board agenda. The total 2026 proposed property tax is a decrease from the actual 2025 by 2.22% or $273,662. The recommendation for the board is to approve the 2025 pay 2026 property tax of $12,064,410.59. And I am happy to take any public comments at this time.
Ms. Racer, we do have individuals signed up, and that would be Mr. Tom Moline.
Okay.
So, Tom, do you want to come forward, and I would like for him to speak into the mic as well, or however you wish. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Tom Moline. I live in Faribault. I pay property taxes. So I feel I'm kind of a shareholder in the school district. I'm kind of amazed that there's such a big crowd here tonight because this is such an important topic. But you mentioned something, and the whole reason that I wanted to mention is the inflationary spiral we see in property values. For people who are on fixed incomes, the effect is devastating. The reality is, as you just expressed, that if we have hyperinflated property values, we start to lose levy. So there's a lot of complex economics involved. I commend you on putting together a really good program. I'd like to see that mine went down this year. That's kind of cool. The reality is, though, I think the community is disconnected on the complexities of the financing of the school system. And I think it's evident. Look behind me. I mean, it's a big town, and we're talking about their money. And they must have a lot more than I thought they did because they're not here. And I hope they're watching. But what I'd like to express is a warning. At the state level right now, you're probably aware that there are a few financial problems starting to manifest themselves in some inadequate management and other things. The spiral down, though, to this level, as we look into the 26-27 period of time, I think is going to be very critical to be very aware of. The federal government, obviously, loves to spend money we don't have. The state government is falling into an abyss, if you will, financially. And so I think it's critically important as we look forward to look at the community. And if we have an independent school district, we need to have a much higher level of economic relationship between the community and the school board and the school system. And it has to be done in a fair way. One of the things that I personally don't like is when people who don't own property get to vote on how much property tax property owners have. Aristotle, John, you probably went to school with Aristotle. But
Before.
Aristotle had some rather unflattering things to say about letting the masses predict the outcomes of the property owners. I paraphrase that, but in reality, I've been to county meetings, state meetings, looking at taxation and the fairness of it. And I think there's a really good example in Faribault right now. A major company wants to build a building, and the county and the city of Faribault realize and recognize that the taxes are so high they have to give them some kind of break in order to build the building. These are hybrid one-off solutions, and I think that they kind of negatively impact the overall continuity, if you will, the property value, tax levies, the valuations are really important. So I apologize, the rest of the community must be at a basketball game or something tonight, and I'd like to say something more offensive, but I really don't have anything. So thank you for the opportunity, and again, my message, if I keep it simple, is going forward, we're about to experience some really tough economic times. For people to understand things like the reverse repo market in the banking industry, when people look at the hyperinflation of a fiat currency, those things are going to come cascading down on us here. And I think it's really important that the community hunker down. I would encourage you to really become that independent school district. Let's demand the state give us our fair share. Let's demand the federal government give us our fair share. But let's decide what to do with it here. We don't need unfunded mandates. Thank you.
I believe that was the only sign up, correct, Ms. Kenny? That's very good. With that, I believe we are completed with the truth and taxation. Are we correct in that? Thank you, Ms. Raisler, very much. Again, we'll be dealing with the approval of the 2025 payable 2026 levy certification, and agenda item 11A. So we will go back now to agenda item 5. We're on 5B. Were there any other school board members have anything else to contribute? Here as well. Okay, seeing none. Next, items information, Superintendent Benty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Jefferson first graders brought their own parade to life. They learned about Tony Sarg, and the history of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Through this themed unit, students practiced sequencing and reading, journaling and writing, and creating timelines while exploring the design process and content. Right. Our Spanish immersion team recently visited the immersion school in Chaska to learn from their successful program as we prepare to expand our Spanish immersion program into the third grade next school year. Currently, that program is pre-K through second grade at this point. Ms. Knutson Griffin's fashion, merchandising, and design class visited the world-renowned Faribault Mill. Students toured the historic facility, saw the production process up close, and learned about textiles from the mill's designers. The visit gave students a behind-the-scenes look at how raw materials become high-quality fabrics, providing real-world insight into fashion, design, and merchandising. Last week, Miss Williams-Peterson's fifth grade class invited their parents to hear them perform monologues from Esperanza Rising. Students worked hard to bring the characters to life, practicing expression, tone, and emotion. Parents enjoyed watching their students showcase their creativity and storytelling skills. Our English Learner Department attended the Minnesota English Learner Education Conference in St. Paul. The statewide conference brought teachers together from across Minnesota dedicated to supporting multilingual students. And then we had some friendly competition between our high school and our middle school. They faced off to see who could raise the most food and money for their food drive. This was done by the staff, not the students. The high school came out on top just barely with approximately 235 items collected and $1,020 in donations to the middle school's $990 in donations. So I believe the wager was that the middle school administration had to go over and then make breakfast or give breakfast to the high school staff. So the Faribault Area Learning Center continued its long-standing tradition of sharing a homemade Thanksgiving meal to celebrate their sense of community. Miss Wells Kindergarten and Miss Katie's preschool class have started a buddy classrooms approach at Roosevelt. Last week, the preschoolers visited the kindergarten room for their second get-together of the year. Students immediately began building connections. The blocks, the sensory table, the office dramatic play area, and the writing center were the biggest hits as buddies explored and learned together. The DECA program completed its community service project by creating holiday greeting cards and door decorations for Faribault Senior Living. The students delivered the finished cards and decorations to the memory care unit, spreading holiday cheer to residents. And then finally, I'm excited to share that our district-wide campaign for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library brought in right around $6,000. We don't have the exact total yet, but we will. This will provide a brand-new book to 200 children in Rice County every month for a year. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Benty. Move on to agenda item number 6, public comment. We do have one sign up for public comment. It's Ms. Janet Moline. She'd like to come forward, and her topic is payments from School District 656 to Chamber of Commerce.
Now I've developed a whole bunch more after listening to our presentation. So I'm just going to back up here for a minute because my property taxes actually went up 16.1% overall, although I did see that the school board numbers didn't go up, or school costs didn't go up as much as they were expected to at that joint boards meeting. But really, you have to address the payroll and benefits number, which is out of control. Okay, so what I really wanted to say, though, was 656 is one of the many taxpayers funding the Chamber of Commerce in different ways. And it's a private sector organization that is not accountable or have oversight by the taxpayer. And so I'm like, when I asked Nort specifically for information about what he was receiving from the various organizations that are taxpayer funded, he, of course, came back with he's a private sector organization and not subject to taxpayer questions. So I'm asking you directly. Please describe the role of the Chamber of Commerce in moving private sector daycare into the public sector pre-K program that you are currently working on. And then I would also like itemization of the payments made to the Chamber of Commerce for fiscal year 23-24 and year-to-date 25. I've given you a copy of my request. And I'd like the dates and the amounts paid and the reason for those payments. I also put a footnote in there, the reason why I would oppose this moving of the daycare industry into the public school system is because the school system's cost per student is far greater than the average cost of daycare in the private sector, and I included a link to that information so you could review it for yourself. And I do thank you for your time.
Thank you. Move on to agenda item number 7, our consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes from the November 24th, 2025 business meeting, employment, additional assignments and other, and authorization of payments, transfers, and investment accounts. Is there a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Director Wolf. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Knudsen. There's no discussion on the consent agenda. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me. Let's do that again. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda items 8, District Advisory Committee, no report. 9, Policy Committee, no report. Agenda item 10, other committees, no reports. Other matters for agenda item 11. 11A, consider approval of the 2025 payable 2026 levy certification. Is there a motion for approval of the 2025 payable 2026 levy certification?
So moved.
Thank you, Director Robichaud. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Boudreau. Discussion. Discussion. Director Moore.
Yes, okay. I actually brought my proposed property tax statement with me, and I just wanted to, because I noticed under the School District 656, there's the voter approved, and then the other. I'm assuming that's not non-voter approved, correct? Actually, that went down, but my overall taxes went up because I have to factor in the county and the township. I guess there's a decrease of 2.22%, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and I do appreciate the decrease rather than an increase. But given that our long-term projected enrollment is going down the next few years and some constituents' property taxes increasing dramatically, and I've been hearing from people, I really don't think this decrease of 2.22% is enough, so I'm a bit conflicted here. I like the decrease, but I think it should be more of a decrease. I think there are people that I've heard even 25% of there's been an increase in property taxes, and they didn't break it down to the school district. But I think we're kind of on a slippery slope here, and I think we're going to run into problems. So, like I said, I'm a bit conflicted on this. I like it that I really appreciate that it's a decrease, but I think it should be more. So.
Discussion? Director Robichaud?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment, and certainly correct me, but, we're one of 3 taxing authorities in this area. And I think people have to look at their proposed tax statement on the evaluation that has gone up. And that evaluation is driving taxes on the 3 entities. On the 3 entities that are taxing citizens in this area. And it's the evaluation, and public comment alluded to that, that's really driving the taxes more than anything else. So we're just one of 3. And all entities are having their truth and taxation hearing. So I think yes, we are looking at reducing our tax burden on the taxpayers in our district, which is more than the city of Faribault, but it's only one of 3. I think you have to scrutinize the other 2 entities to really get a good picture of what's happening to our tax base.
Comments? Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Director Boudreau?
I'm just thankful that it is going down this year. And whether it's 2.22% or 0.2%, I think that's something to feel good about. We can't control the other taxing entities. We can only control ours to some extent. And I think that's a good thing.
Mr. Chair.
Director Moore?
As I said, I'm a bit conflicted, so I think I'm going to abstain. I'm not sure what the procedure for that is, but is this a roll call vote? or not?
When we vote, you can mention.
Yeah, I think I'm going to abstain because like I said, I'm conflicted. I'm glad it's going down, but I don't believe it's going down enough, so thank you.
Director Wolf?
Mr. Chair, like other comments said, I'm thankful it's going down a bit. I think every taxpayer wishes it would go down a little bit more. Inflation is there in many areas, let alone taxes, insurance costs and all that. As Director Robichaud mentioned, we're one of three. And I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe ours is probably the only one going down. I think the city and county are both increasing. And I'm not blaming them, that's their decisions and what they do.
Township.
But anyway, I concur with everybody else.
So from my seat, if you're looking at my tax statements, if you have a issue, if I have an issue with that, I'm going to go to the one that is raising them the most or have that. So I know between the city, the county, and townships, and those that live in the country, and the school district, had many comments from many of our constituents that say thank you, and we're doing what we are doing with the money we're receiving. So with that, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, so we have a motion for approval of the 2025 payable 2026 levy certification. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'm
Abstention?
abstaining. Yes, me.
Abstention. Have 6 ayes, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
Mr. Chair, I believe that turns into a 7-0 vote,
And it-
and abstention
yes,
goes with
you
the
are correct.
majority.
Abstention does go with the majority, so it does go 7-0. Thank you for that clarification, Director Wolf. 11B, consider adopting a resolution 26-07 establishing combined polling places for multiple precincts and designating hours during which the polling places will remain open for voting for school district elections not held on the day of a statewide election. Is there a motion for approval of Resolution 26-07 as I just read?
So move.
Thank you, Director Boudreau. Is there a second? Chair will second it. Discussion. Maybe for explanation, Superintendent Benty or Director of Finance, Ms. Raisler, anyone?
Jamie, do you want to actually explain it since you have done the voting as an individual before?
So, as far as like if we have
She needs a mic.
precincts for like a special school board election, we won't want to run all of the precincts, so this helps narrow it down. And it cuts our costs down. So you passed it last year, but Bryce County said we needed to divide Northfield Township precinct 1 and 2, and so that's the only change from last year. So hopefully going forward, we should be good adopt this.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Director Boudreau.
there is a memorandum in the agenda that can be explained to the public, and as Jamie mentioned, it's really just that there maybe was a little error in the precinct 1 and 2 in Northfield. We didn't split that out. It's what the memorandum says, so it has nothing to do with the future referendum that we're planning. This is just a correction.
Very good clarification. Thank you. Yes, in studying that, I noticed that as well. So, very good. Any further discussion? Discussion? Hearing none. This is a action item, so roll call, please. Director Steves.
Linda Boudreau.
Aye.
Candace Knudsen.
Aye.
Linda Moore.
Aye.
Gary Robichaud.
Aye.
Cassie Steves, aye. Chad Wolf.
Aye.
John Bellingham.
Aye.
Resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. 11C, consider approving the changes to the non-affiliated operations and family support specialist employment agreement for 2025 through 2027. Is there a motion for approving the changes to the non-affiliated administrative operations and family support specialist employment agreement?
So moved.
Thank you, Director Wolf.
Second.
Second, Director Robichaud. And discussion. Again, once again, remember the discussion will be germane to the motion as stated.
Mr. Chairman,
Director
I would
Boudreaux.
like to recuse myself. I have a conflict here.
Thank you. Discussion, Director Moore.
I just have a question. Why are we giving raises to administrators when our achievement levels are so low? That's my question. It's rhetorical.
Not in compliance or with the germane to the motion. Further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. A motion for approval for the changes of the non-affiliated administrative operations and family support specialist employment agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Abstention? Or you
I recuse myself.
recused? Okay, so we won't have a vote. So the motion passes 5-1. Agenda item 12, dates to remember. December 11th, 2025 at 7:45 a.m., Facilities Committee meeting. December 12th at 11 a.m., Joint Boards meeting, and I believe that's been switched now to, is it the Government Center? Is that correct? The Government Center, thank you. January 5th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. is our organizational meeting. Agenda item number 13, is there adjournment? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Knudsen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Robichaud. Discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.